Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is MedioLore and I made a new main account to painstakingly explain the stories of all quests in Old School RuneScape. Unemployment is funny like that. This video is my favorite one so far. We got action, we got MILFs, and we've got a problematic amount of enabling alcoholism. Strap in, because it's gonna be a wild ride. Waterfall Quest is a story about uncovering an ancient treasure behind, you guessed it, a waterfall. Let's get wet. This quest can be started at the Backstorian Falls by speaking with Almira. She is the mother of a boy named Huden, and the little lad is convinced there's a treasure hidden near the waterfall. This is quite worrisome, as Huden can't even swim and he's around the river unsupervised. It would seem that Almira has got a lot on her plate if she's not even able to watch her only child. This got Medio thinking, where is the father? And what was Almira's deal? Cause y'all know about his proclivities. When checking the upstairs area, Medio found that there were only 2 single beds in a tiny room. This meant 2 things. 1. Almira was indeed single, and 2. Puberty was probably gonna be awkward for little Huden. Since Medio thought he had a shot, he decided to get in Almira's good graces and check on Huden. She warns him that the current is very strong, but he wanted to prove to her that his core strength was stronger, so Medio took the raft outside and there he found Huden. After crashing into the small island in the river, Medio immediately asserts his new position as a stepfather. Huden is not impressed and tells Medio to leave him alone as he's searching for a treasure near the waterfall. He doesn't want his new stepfather's help, because then he'd have to share. Medio now had his sights set on the treasure, cause if there's one thing he loves more than MILFs, it's money. So now he had to find a way to get down from the waterfall safely. To this end, Medio used the rope to navigate the rapids of the waterfall. He then climbed into a box to safely descend the waterfall without getting wet.
And a dry boy is a smart boy.
Downstairs, Medio meets a man named Gerald, who also affirms the rumors of treasure. The legend goes that the old elven king put this treasure there, but to this day, no one has found anything. Perhaps Hadley the tourist guide knows more. Hadley states that the waterfall carries the name of Backstorian Falls, in honor of the Elven King Backstorian, who is supposedly buried there. Backstorian and his wife Glariel had a lovely union together that spanned over a century. Together, they learned and taught all there was to know about nature. Backstorian was a master of RuneLore because he was an avid subscriber of mine, but all good things come to an end, and when evil forces attacked from the west, Backstorian left on a campaign to repel the threat. When he returned, Glariel was captured by enemy forces, never to be seen again. Backstorian recalls this event in his book, and he's all like, what even is the point of life if I can't spend it with my hot elven wife? This was pretty hardcore, but Backstorian had a point. Medio met Almira all of 2 minutes ago, and if anything would happen to her, Medio would have likely yeeted himself off the waterfall. Backstorian's book also reveals that no one but him and Glariel can enter the waterfall, so our best bet to learn more is to visit Glariel's burial tomb. This can only be done with Glariel's pebble, which is rumored to be located under Tree Gnome Village, which is a village where 3 gnomes reside. This race of short humanoids can be found all over the Kandarin region, and they have a standoffish relationship with humans. Despite this, they are mostly peaceful and generally won't instigate violence, unless provoked. When rummaging under Tree Gnome Village, Medio comes across an individual by the name of Golry. He lives in a cave, but his home has been besieged by hobgoblins who are after his family heirlooms. When offering help, he declines and pridefully says he will sort something out. He hasn't been able to do so for over 20 years, and he's still there to this day. Glariel's pebble can be found here as well. Golry dismisses this pebble as elven junk, but for Medio, it was the key that unlocks the entire operation. Though Glariel has been dead for many years, Her love for peace is everlasting, and it's stated on her tomb that only those with peaceful intentions can enter. This means that we can only enter the tomb without combat equipment. Inside, Medio finds that the promise of peace has been greatly exaggerated. After running for his life, he comes across Glariel's necklace and also her urn. Glariel's necklace has been blessed by Baxtorian himself and will grant safe passage into Baxtorian Falls. When Medio visits his stepson again, he is quick to give him a life lesson about the uncaring and unfair nature of humankind and life in general. With that great parenting out of the way, it was time to enter Baxtorian Falls. Medio put on the necklace and bravely made his way into the inner sanctum. Here, a statue of both Glariel and Baxtorian can be found. Access is only limited to them, Medio, and a random guy in a gas mask. To celebrate the elven couple's love of nature, air, earth and water runes must be placed on the pillar inside. Medio then thought it fitting to put Glariel's necklace on the statue that represented her likeliness. When he did that, the ground rumbled and a chalice appeared from under the ground. Medio then put Glariel's remains into the water of the waterfall. That way, this waterfall would serve as her final resting place, the way Baxtorian had intended probably. I'm sure this won't have far-reaching consequences later down the line. For some reason, Medio got jacked as from this adventure. He decided to put that newfound strength towards being a good stepfather to Yuden. That's why they call it being a stepfather, because you gotta step up. And that's the end of the Waterfall Quest, but it's likely we haven't seen the last of Baxtorian. Fight Arena is a quest about a mother on the cusp of widowhood, unnecessary violence, and a talking skeleton with evil tendencies. Needless to say, it checks all of my boxes. Lady Serval, a woman of nobility and great means, has run into some trouble on the road south of Ardoin. Her luxurious family car broke down, and when she, her husband and small child called for help, they were unlucky enough that that call was answered by General Khazard's men. They offered them a deal. In exchange for fixing their cart, the boys would fight as slaves in General Khazard's arena. Even though they are of the nobility, this deal was a little too rich for their blood and they politely declined. General Khazard's response was to enslave the men anyway, leaving Lady Serval stranded. Why would he do that? Khazard is actually an evil Zamorakian Masharat, and he leads the army that he creatively dubbed the Khazard army. He is at war with an even more formidable and terrifying force: the Gnomes. These two are beefing like crazy for some reason. We covered the Masharat before, during the Shield of Arath quest, but this is the first time Medio would actually directly interact with one. Being at war with the gnomes nearby, and spectacularly failing at it too, has put a dent in morale, so Khazard let slave fight in the arena. Since subway surfers had yet to be invented, this would have to pass for entertainment. It's up to Medio to free Lady Serval's son and husband from the clutches of General Khazard. And that's gonna be quite a challenge, as Masharats are evil necromancers with great and terrible power that can only be overcome with superior positioning. In order to infiltrate the arena, Medio's first idea was subterfuge. He found a Khazardian set of armor and put it on. To the untrained eye, he was now one of them. It wouldn't be the first time he cross-dressed to get in somewhere he wasn't wanted, and he doubted it would be the last. This got him in the jail area of the arena. It's here that Medio encountered Sammy Serval. Sammy's been here for a bit, and he knows the comings and goings of the guards. And he also knows that the head guard holds the key to his freedom. So when Medio talks to the head honcho, he states that things are quiet and he'd much rather be drinking. But the last time he had forsaken his duties for cocktails, he fell asleep. So you can probably guess Medio's next move. After enabling alcoholism for the umpteenth time, the head guard is off to take a nap and leaves the prisoners in Medio's care. According to the head guard, if the prisoners get unruly, Medio could always DDS-spec them into submission. So Medio now had the keys in his possession, using it to free Serval Jr. from captivity. Instead of walking to freedom, Sammy goes straight into the arena, where his father is fighting an ogre, and quite badly at that too. If Medio doesn't intervene now, Lady Serval would soon be single. And although that was an exciting prospect, Medio decided to give in to his altruistic tendencies and save Papa Serval. Besides, he already had a MILF from the Waterfall Quest, so Medio faced off against the ogre, and because he was something of a chess prodigy, he was able to outthink the ogre and beat him based on superior positioning. This got the attention of General Khazard himself, and he's all like, hippity hoppity, y'all motherfuckers are now my property. And he offers Medio his own and the Serval's freedom in exchange for fighting in the arena. He is then taken to his cell, which he is to share with a skeleton and Hangred, who was captured by Khazard when he was only a child and forced to fight for his entertainment ever since. Hangred's hands were probably sullied with the blood of the innocent. Medio liked him. It was then time to fight, and Medio was forced to face off against Khazard's pet Scorpion, who wasn't really a challenge as he could be safe spotted behind the skeleton of an unsuccessful arena fighter. Khazard then sicked his dog Bouncer on Medio, who could be foiled in exactly the same way. When Bouncer fell, Khazard was ready to go John Wick on Medio's ass, rightfully calling us a monster for killing his dog. He is a man of his word though, and releases the Servals as he once promised. Khazard is still a bit upset about Bouncer though, so he's gonna try and kill Medio too. Sammy, showing wisdom beyond his years, tells Medio to haul ass so that he can live and fight another day. Medio was still high from his win streak though, and he had grown overconfident in his abilities. He decided to 1v1 Khazard in a quickscoping battle, making great use of Khazard's only weakness. I cast Calcium Deficit. When Khazard fell, Medio was eager to return to the Serval family for his well-earned reward. But Medio got the shock of his life when Khazard rematerialized in front of him, taunting him that he cannot be killed, though he respects Medio for trying. He warns that should Medio ever oppose him again, he'll personally send him to hell. Even though Medio had acquired the master key from the head guard, he was unable to free any of the other prisoners, which made him sad. That sadness soon faded when he returned to Lady Serval for his reward. Fighting in and infiltrating the arena had made Medio a better warrior as well as thief. General Khazard was still at large though, and Medio learned firsthand that he couldn't be killed through normal means. Medio had a feeling he hadn't seen the last of him. Even though Lady Serval is supposed to be a noble woman, the cash reward she bestows on Medio for saving her family's life is 1k. So I guess the biggest lore implication we can get from this quest is that Lady Serval is a noob. Monk's Friend is a story about befriending people who have dedicated their life to religion. These monks live in seclusion in a monastery to the south of Ardoin, and as a testament to their faith, have sworn off drinking and fornication. So naturally, we have to acquire alcohol for their party and get one of their children to shut the fuck up. Brother Omad hasn't slept in weeks because Brother Andrew's son keeps on crying. This is likely because his father's name is spelled all kinds of wrong. Additionally, thieves broke in the monastery and stole his favorite blanket. We have seen some heinous shit in our adventure thus far, but thieves breaking into a holy monastery to steal a child's blanket and nothing else is real bottom of the barrel stuff. So Medio sets out to find the thieves' hideout, and when he gets there, he is quick to teach the leader of the gang a lesson. It should be noted that he wasn't guided by just benevolence, he also liked to watch the lights go out. So Medio, with a blanket and blood on his hands, returns to the monastery, and everyone is in good spirits now that Andrew's son is finally sleeping better. What's more, the little dude is about to turn 1 year old, so the monks use it as an excuse to have an alcohol-fueled party. Kinda like a quinceañera that goes on into the dead of night even when the birthday girl has gone to bed ages ago. Problem is, Brother Cedric was supposed to return with the wine some time ago, so it's up to Medio to find him. Cedric got drunk and he crashed his cart into the woods of Ardoin. Judging by the Fight Arena quest, he is lucky to not find himself enslaved as a gladiator. Today is opposite day, because this time we actually have to sober someone up instead of getting them more drunk. Medio then gives Cedric a lock to fix his cart. This allows Cedric to supply the party with wine. It was at this point that Medio started to think that these monks didn't care about religion at all. They just wanted to reproduce, party and drive under the influence. Maybe the monastic life was for him after all. Medio had earned the friendship of the monks after everything he did, earning him an invite to the epic shindig. If your party isn't this lit, don't even bother inviting me. After the party dies down, the quest is completed. But it's heavily implied that Brother Omad never sobers up, even after the events of this quest. So we end up with yet another problematic display of alcoholism in RuneScape. Tree Gnome Village is a quest where you have to thwart the Khazard army from hunting the tree gnomes to extinction. This quest is started by talking to King Bolrun. He and his people have been safely tucked away in the center of a complicated maze. They live here to avoid being hunted down for sport, with varying levels of success. General Khazard, who we know from the Fight Arena quest, has launched a full-scale attack on the gnomes. These little creatures are not violent, but will square the fuck up if they have to. Normally, the gnomes are protected by the 3 orbs of the spirit trees. As long as they are in place, no creature of darkness can harm the gnomes. But to turn the tide against Khazard's dark army, 1 orb has been taken to the battlefield, which has now been taken, and the gnomes are in grave danger. This confused Medio somewhat. If the orbs offered protection against dark forces, why were they in danger from Khazard in the first place?
He was asking too many questions.
But all is not lost. Medio, a man of normal height, might be able to tip the scales in the gnomes' favor. To this end, he is sent to Commander Montai on the battlefield. Medio's first task is to bring logs so that they can reinforce the battlements. Luckily, he's an expert at sharing wood with shouties. The next step was breaching Khazard's defense and retrieve the gnome's orb. For this, the gnomes have to coordinate the ballista. This was Medio's first time operating heavy medieval siege weapons, but if he could operate a Glock 18, how hard could this be? Quite hard, as it turns out. 3 gnome trackers need to give Medio the correct coordinates. For convenience sake, they are called Gnome Tracker 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Getting the gnome ballista in working order is an important task. If the orb is retrieved, none of the gnome blood spilled here today will be in vain. Which again begs the question, why did they risk losing the orb in the first place? Anyway, Medio makes his way beyond the battlefield to gather the coordinates. Gnome Tracker 1 did height, and he gives the height coordinate without any problems. Gnome Tracker 2 has been captured, and they tortured and beat him, but he promises he didn't tell Khazard anything. This leads me to believe that Khazard hadn't resorted to cock and ball torture yet. He gives the Y coordinate for the ballista as well. Gnome Tracker 3 has lost his feeble mind and cannot give a reliable answer to anything, let alone the X coordinates for a medieval siege weapon. He did promise that if Medio danced with him, Khazard's men would be bested. This turned out to be an over-exaggeration. So Medio had the height coordinate, the Y coordinate, but the X coordinate eluded him. So he did what he always did when he wasn't sure on how to operate heavy machinery, and he decided to wing it. The ballista then hit an orphanage. The war machine never stops though, and the second shot was right on target. This allowed Medio to breach the building where the orb was being kept. With the orb in hand, Medio returned to the Tree Gnome village. But while he was away, disaster had struck. Khazard launched a counterattack in the heart of the village to steal the 2 remaining orbs from the spirit tree. In its defense, many gnomes died, including King Bolrun's wife. Bolrun is in shambles, and for good reason, because if those gnome ball cheerleaders are anything to go by, his wife must have been absolutely stacked. The orbs have been taken by a Khazardian warlord to the north, and it's up to Medio to get it back. So Medio confronts the warlord and urges him to return the orbs, as they're stolen goods, blindly and conveniently forgetting that thieving is a skill that he's trained extensively. The warlord is not impressed, and vows to end Medio's miserable life, just as soon as he can get in melee range. The Khazard warlord dropped the orbs as he fell to the ground. Medio secured them and safely made his way back to Tree Gnome village without any real problems. When Bolrun received the 2 rotund orbs, he was ecstatic. For some reason, they filled him with sweet memories of his late wife. The gnomes quickly started the restoration ritual, and the tree spirit restored its protection over the gnomes. For his service, Medio is awarded with the ability to travel between tree spirits and the knowledge that because of him, no gnome would have to suffer anymore. Until this happened. And that's gonna do it for this video. If you've enjoyed yourself, why not leave a like and maybe even subscribe to the channel. Join me next time as we complete even more of RuneScape's quest catalog. I don't know what's next, but I have a strong feeling that alcohol will take center stage.